Okay. Well, thank you very, very much. Welcome everyone who's attending live and those who will come join later and those who will watch the replay. This is a TBLi Spotlight interview of one of our esteemed members of the TBLi Circle, Arko Chatterjee, the founder of NaturaYuva, who has a distinguished career in business development and also in the agriculture space. And I'm curious to learn what took him away from Syngenta to do a startup basically in nutraceutical and healthy foods. So Arko, thank you so much for doing this. For those that are not familiar with you and your background and NaturaYuva, so briefly give us your nickel tour as to who is Arko Chatterjee and what is your big purpose.
Thank you, Robert, for the spotlight opportunity for myself and the chance to share my purpose, perhaps for the rest of my life, which is NaturaYuva. My journey in the agricultural area comes from my long history of working in the chemical industry, which got me closer to the fine chemical industry back in Germany 20 years ago, and thereafter had the chance to see the crop protection and seeds industry here in Switzerland by working in Syngenta. Round about the time I was heading the European business of commercial operations for Syngenta here for the EMEA region, I had a chance to experience and see and observe the agricultural industry from around the world. It's what I could see is that the smallholder farmers constituting 85% of the entire space of the farming community globally, more so in the subcontinent in India, where I originally come from, doesn't have the access to the market, and they are suffering from not having minimal prices and many other issues that they face. At the same time, the category of medicinal and aromatic plants are not addressed by these large companies because on an acreage basis, they are really small. And the traditional ethnobotanists, a few of them who are in my team, and I'm really inspired by their experience that they bring in, is not present in these large agricultural companies because they are focused on the commodity crops. At the same time, Robert, I got significantly influenced being married to my wife, who comes from a fourth generation homeopathy manufacturing family back in India. And her great grandfather, who was the founder more than 120 years ago, wrote books on CSR in 1904. And actually walked the talk by giving 80% of his wealth away, and still having enough for the family and the business to run now in its fourth generation. So there is tremendous power in providing vulnerable communities with a chance to get an enhanced livelihood, and there would be enough for us to provide access to these smallholder farmers through NaturaYuva, cultivating medicinal and aromatic plants in agroforestry landscape. So that's my purpose of NaturaYuva, and through an exciting set of customers who understand our value proposition that we have built around this concept, I'm excited that on the prospect of NaturaYuva being the future of natural ingredients globally.
And you were briefly at Syngenta and previously there in the plastics industry, business development, marketing, big career, lots of sales, billions and billions in sales. So what made you decide I need a new career path?
I think I personally was not enjoying corporate slavery, to be very honest, and I think the importance of I've traveled around the world, seeing the plight of the smallholder farmers, and I wasn't getting an opportunity to do something directly for them. So I think the chance and the opportunity of entrepreneurship to do something for the underprivileged farmers, and not being satisfied at all with a nice paycheck coming in at the end of the month, but not being satisfied by not being able to influence and help what seemed to have become my purpose when I quit Syngenta. So yeah, I think there is also I came across several individuals within the food industry, beverage, nutraceutical, and so on, and everybody knew what their pain points are, but very few are able to take the risk, the entrepreneurial risk to create something long lasting and of support to these vulnerable smallholder farming groups, as well as serving the needs of some of these players, these customer bases across the world who needed these ingredients. So I thought, so I think I just thought I should move in this space, take the entrepreneurial risk, and bring together like-minded people around the world, including our colleagues who we are now 18 of us together, as well as the investors who really wanted to put their money on a venture like us that influences the planet positively, influences the consumers positively, and does a tremendous impact on the soil, on the livelihoods of smallholder farmers, and the ecosystem where they live in.
When a lot of or a lot of individuals want to start their own company, and I keep saying that it's not about genius, it's about grit, because things never go according to plan. They're always worse or better. So if it's better, even Donald Trump would be a good investor. You won't hear from him, you get a check, but it never goes according to plan. Usually he's much more challenging. So in starting and doing this startup, there are lots and lots of things, lots of moving parts. What have you found the most challenging in launching NaturaYuva?
As you rightly said, an entrepreneur and the entrepreneur's family, my better half, we are in this together. So it's always good to first have a spouse who is on board and is willing to go through the grind and is equally to take on the risk that comes with this life. As you rightly said, there is almost nothing that goes to plan, but we need a plan. And we have survived now. We are almost 6.5-year-old, going to complete 7 years next year.
Wow.
And I started the business putting all my little savings that I accumulated working for several companies into setting up what is now NaturaYuva. I think it was very challenging to present a business model like NaturaYuva, which has different phases of growth. And the conventional, of course, was hard to find investors from the go, but it was very difficult to find the like-minded investors.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter which phase we were in at the inception towards the middle, and it was very difficult for me to understand the motive of the various investors, colleagues who join us, and it's a very difficult phase. These first initial 5, 6, 7 years of our existence. The investors, the shareholders who are with us today, the colleagues, the employees who work with me together, they have all battled the uncertainty of both macro and micro factors, because you can imagine it was really difficult phase in the middle of COVID when I actually got introduced to you, Robert, and you helped us, in that situation where almost all investors disappeared at the onset of COVID. My wife was pregnant with a baby, and we had no money.
Mhm.
All right, and
Perfect start. Perfect start.
so and what took us forward and helped us to bridge the gap is my colleagues on the ground in India who continued to work 120% without getting salaries for some months. And we had employees, we had colleagues who didn't know, whether they would get their salary the next month, but they believed in me and they know I'm giving in my 100% to get in the necessary liquidity. So I think managing expectations of the various stakeholders, of the customers, in getting their trust to give place orders with a small company like ours. So all my colleagues or colleagues who are at the front end and back end with the customers, with our farming groups, with our processing groups, I think they all worked 120% without giving up. And I think that is a reason why we are still we are still alive and kicking, and we are on track to now have considerable amount of revenues this year, and now we are in a pole position to scale significantly. So there are many difficult things, but an entrepreneur and needs to win the trust of all the stakeholders. And I think once that trust is in place, when difficult situation arises, I think one can cross that bridge easily.
Just to clarify, your business is you assist smallholder farmers in creating healthy ingredients, which could be nutraceuticals, but they're also just edible fruits and vegetables, which make people healthier. Did I paraphrase that correctly?
Yeah, you're almost there, Robert. We actually help the smallholder farmers to adopt agroforestry, so organic agroforestry, so no monoculture, and we assist them to increase their earning in several ways, but primarily for them to intercrop the medicinal and aromatic plants besides growing their usual food and fodder crops to supplement their earning.
Okay.
So even for their produce, some farming, it's important to balance the livelihood system of the smallholder community. And by paying them a premium price, we give them an increased earnings, which helps them to invest a lot more in their community. So that's the intervention. The production of the natural ingredients, we do it ourselves by buying the produce from the smallholder farmers directly, and processing them to make ingredients to the spec of our customers here, starting in Europe, who place the orders with us and to a particular specification. And we ensure that all the quality and other parameters that is required by the customer is integrated in our quality management system right from the point of selection of seeds which we give to the smallholder farmers, or which they themselves save and plant, and that the cultivation practices, the harvesting, the post-harvest, and the processing, everything is done under our quality by design management system, under our supervision, that allows us to bring these high quality ingredients, traceable ingredients, at the doorstep of our customers here in Europe. So that's the model. Of course, we would like to expand the smallholder base to more locations in India and in the subcontinent, but also in different regions, and bring additional products, not just to Europe, but to all over the world. So it's a very scalable model. We believe in the importance of these medicinal plants, which are under a lot of threat, and to conserve them, and bring them to certain applications, primarily nutraceuticals, which we believe is one of the most one of the highest growth categories, and is really required in the area of health and wellness.
But is the end product a pill form, or is it a tea form? What is it? What does the end product look like?
For NaturaYuva, the end product is could be a powder, uh, could be an extract from these medicinal plants, could be simply the dried herb itself, which and it could also be a capsule. So it all depends on who the customer is and which product form do they need. The product also could be a liquid, like an essential oil, which are used in cosmetics, or in flavors, or several other subsegments. So it all depends on what the requirement is of the customer, and to what extent they want us to produce the goods of. So we of course wouldn't like selling our dried raw materials. But we like to do some value addition, some processing at our end to ensure we can store the goods for a longer shelf life, 3 to 5 years at least, for some of the products or most of the products, but also add some value for the customers. But we are very open to even providing some dried herbs, some parts of the plants which is very difficult to get. So NaturaYuva, when it comes to the most niche medicinal plants which are difficult to cultivate, or not that readily available, I think, or a specialty product, that's where our sweet spots are. So it's not that we don't do commodities, but we would really like to play in the niche area, for which there are not many suppliers on a global basis.
But that's very broad, from cosmetics, essential oils, herbs, medicine, food additives, vitamins. That's very, very, very broad. That's quite a big ambition.
Yes, I think the broadness is because the same medicinal plant can be used in different applications. So if I give you an example, um, one of our flagship products is Moringa. We have developed a polyculture system of about 5 varieties mixed with other medicinal and aromatic plants. Now, the moringa leaf, if it's powdered, dried and powdered, it's used in nutraceutical. If we get an extract or if we press the seed of of moringa, then it's used in cosmetics, right? So if we get the right process for the right product that is required by a customer, we can adjust ourselves, and we have that flexibility to fine tune and even plant the right variety for the customer. So you can imagine if a customer wants a specific color of a ginger or a special bulk density of a ginger powder, we have the capability to get the right seedling varieties of seeds and plant them and get the right product to the customer. Any other player will take many more months and years to get it right. So we believe so. It's broad because the same medicinal plant can be used in depending on the product form can be used in myriad industries. That's the flexibility and the positivity we have because we can sell the same plant to different industries. So if cosmetic cycle is down and nutraceutical is high, that's where we would go to. Or if the food cycle is high and the nutraceutical cycle is going low, then we go to food. So we have the flexibility to adjust our end product form to supply to the right customer. And this gives us also the opportunity to keep serving the smallholder farmers year after year. So that's the other positive thing about NaturaYuva.
Glenn wanted to ask, do you get involved with Glenn Frommer? He's in the chat. Do you get involved with building capacity and training farmers with better planting, harvesting, transporting? Are you engaged at all in that process with the farmers?
Well, that's the value addition. We have to get involved in building the capacities and in training the farmers, and we have even being a small company, our young and dynamic agronomic team has under the supervision of our designated director for this purpose is able to do so. Quality is lost at the farm gate, and if you do not, about 90% of all the contaminations in the end product is at the farm gate level. So if we don't build the training and capacities, especially post harvest, but also even during the cultivation time or the time of harvest is where quality gets lost, and that's where our team gets involved along with the farming group and giving them clear guidance, how to harvest, how to package, and how to even store before we bring them, to our doorstep for our processing. So it's a lot of effort. We do have a hub and spoke model where the local farming leader, along with the NGO group, helps us to achieve those activities. We have about 29 farming groups now where we are involved, and so we have to, we need more funding, more TAs and grants to ensure we continue to provide these amenities to the farming groups.
I realize the social enterprise bigger purpose of what you're trying to do, working with smallholder farmers, primarily, I think, in India. But wouldn't it be easier and probably less important to your clients if you just grew the herbs in Switzerland?
Great question. When you know the naturalness of or the endemicity of the medicinal plants is really important. I mean, not that you cannot grow banana trees here in Switzerland. You do see banana trees growing as an ornamental crop before certain houses, but you can't plant them in huge acreage, so and you cannot get the active ingredient in them. So our customers, so when you have, especially in some categories, perhaps in nutraceutical is a better example. You will grow the best ashwagandha in central India. Okay. And you will grow only rhodiola rosea here in the alpine forest or altitudes of 5,000 meters, you know. So there is a factor of endemicity, so it grows where it's, you know, and it grows best where it's known for growing. And these plants grow well in mainly in India. So well, there are a lot of customers who require Swiss plants, and you know, so we will come into this category once we have conquered this frontier. There's a huge myriad of customers who want turmeric from India, or who want ginger from India, or who want Bacopa monnieri or neem seeds from India, and they wouldn't necessarily go and buy this from other countries if we are able to get the product according to their specifications, according to the local food safety regulations in Europe. So yeah, so we would love to be involved growing Swiss medicinal plants in the future. So that's definitely in our plans. But it will be a different product for the same customer or for a different customer.
And so, going forward, once you get out of this challenging 7-year valley of death period, where you can just focus on growing the company, what is your big ambition with NaturaYuva? I'm sure that you've thought about this a lot while you're arm wrestling with your wife, who's saying, "When are you going to finally make some money over here?"
No, great question, Robert. So I have laid down my ambition very clearly for all the stakeholders. So in the next 10 years, I want to you know, make agroforestry farms you know, for about 100,000 hectares. So I want to make degraded land into thriving agroforestry ecosystem under our stewardship in the next 5 to 10 years. The second target is I want to see about 100,000 smallholder families records, you know, that we have doubled their income, their family income. We want to conserve about 3,500 medicinal plants. We have many special colleagues, especially one of them, and who is one of the best ethnobotanists in India. And you know, we have a plan to create one of the most unique ex situ conservatory of and a repository of more than 3,500 plants and their various genotypes and ecotypes in a 100-acre piece of land. So I sometimes tell my wife I want to spend at least my last days in this oasis that is still yet to be created. I want to create about 50 ingredients that are not there in the market today in the next 10 years. And hopefully by doing all of this, we would have a significant revenue. If the customers don't buy from us for the products that we sell, we also are ambitious enough to create the market ourselves, because the end use of these traditional plants are well documented in our ancient scriptures, and the modern science, the modern wellness and health needs these innovation in the market for various therapeutic areas, for various applications, and some of them are literally not known. So in this new wave of innovation that is expected from the industry, we hope to be the answer and hopefully replicate whatever we are doing in different regions of the world.
So if I look at, the challenges of a business of, creating production and distribution and sales and marketing and getting clients, it seems that you have a lot of interest on the client side for product.
Yeah.
That's not such a challenge. And you have enough production in India with smallholder farmers to deliver that, correct?
That's correct.
So the issue is really the funding to scale this.
Absolutely. Even with the limited funding we have achieved, Robert, we are one of the few, I would say, companies that have over 100 EU organic ingredients in our list, in our list of offerings. Because of agroforestry, you're growing different crops on a single piece of land, and that multiplication and our and the spread across various geographic zones around India that our team has achieved, we are able to make this offer to our customers. Now, a customer may say we need 2 of the products, and we are willing to place order for them, and we are ready to do that. But what we also face is that the customer is not willing to take an equal risk in in their product development. We did a lot of free work in the past just to prove ourselves, and we have succeeded. But we had to take a decision to get a skin in the game from our customers, to not just in placing paperwork orders, but also in cash and other support to grow the product. There is tremendous demand for our products, Robert, in the market in Europe. We have farmers now to supply them. We have our processing aligned, and what we now need is significant funding. And through this medium, I would like to place that our Series A round is now open, where we are raising 3.5 million. We have come about halfway through. We just signed our second CLA in this round, and we hope to close this round by 15th of December. So if there are any family offices, any institutions, we have a very good due diligence done on us. There is reports of that, and we are if you have availability of funds, and I'm speaking to the investors here through your medium, you're most welcome to get in touch, and we can discuss the terms and other information you need about us.
Well, you brought up a good point, because some of the richest people in the world are from retail supermarkets for a reason. They take no risk at all.
Yes.
They're just a distributor of everyone else who covers everything. And I remember recently I had a client who had developed a food product that's widely used. And this food product was the most animal friendly, ticked all the boxes. So one of the biggest food producing companies in the world was interested in buying their entire production. I'm not going to tell you what type of product, which it was, because it was quite confidential. So they said, great, but we would have to switch entirely all of our production to this particular ingredient, and we would need 44 farms starting from scratch to manufacture this particular food product in order for us to meet our demand. But we'll give you no money. and we'll give you no agreement that we'll buy until we know that the farms are already there and meet all of our specs. So that's always a challenge in that food space, which is dominated by a small number of big players. If you look at that pie of who controls the food industry, and there was a wonderful TV show actually about the industrialization of the food industry in America called Damnation. It's very well done if you ever get a chance to watch it. So it's you have the solution, you have the product, but often those who benefit the most do not want to take any financial risk. Some of them have created corporate ventures, but it is really the challenge of lots of entrepreneurs like yourself. We've got the solution, we've got this, and everybody says, when you get to 5 million EBITDA positive, give me a call. When you don't need the money, please call me. And that must be very frustrating.
Absolutely. So in my investor database, I have more than 700 rejects. And
Only 700. Come on,
yeah.
go for 1,000.
Well, yes. So I think, but we also have 17 shareholders who believed in us, and going up to about maybe 21, 22 at the end of our Series A. So
Oh, wonderful.
in this big bad world of no risk takers, we have found investors, like-minded investors, who believed in us and have trusted us with their money, and have joined us in different ways, helping us in various ways, either joining our board, and helping us scale, or simply even employees who have left other attractive jobs to join NaturaYuva at the peak of their careers, or at the very inception of their career. So yes, so it's also a skill of an entrepreneur to mitigate risks and present the risks in a way that is agreeable to the investor, right? But there are risks. I mean, we have raised about 3 million equity in 2 rounds. And there are much bigger companies who have raised multiples of what we have raised and have shut their shop because after the financial crisis, or after COVID, or and businesses are closing left, right, center, and so it's. But I think it's the willpower of the entrepreneurial family, along with the trusted people that that have onboarded themselves with us, who keep the boat afloat, and that is the boat we believe in, and that attracts other investors to join us on our journey. If we had to, so if we had to be shut down, we would have been shut down. There were enough, there were enough, macroeconomic jerks we got, be it in COVID or be it in the financial meltdown last year, or even now, where no venture funds have approached us, but they are beginning to approach us now, and I think the opportunity is there now for us to take the investment and make a great company, and take us to a little more safer horizons. But I'm very sure, I'm very determined that that we will thrive as a company, and through all the work that we do, we will bring our vision to life. So I remain very optimistic.
Oh, I'm also optimistic. I just, even though most of our work is helping companies raise money, I tell everyone, if you can do it without external investment, do it. Bootstrapping is still the best way forward if you can afford to do that, because it's a tremendous amount of time it takes to, research, find, filter, get a meeting, convince, get them on board, process the agreement, and then keep them happy and get rid of them. So that's a lot of time, that investor relations. And also, a lot of the times the investment community is completely wrong. There were two industries that got tens of billions of dollars in the last 5 years. Both of those industries are gone in less than 5 years. One was the 10-minute bicycle delivery for home groceries. So if you need a Coke, you would call this Gatir or that, and they'll bring it to you in 10 minutes. And that I always thought, I don't understand why everybody was throwing billions at that, and most of it is gone. The other was online event software. A company like Hopin had a valuation of $15 billion at one time, gone, doesn't exist anymore. Most of the online software companies are gone. The one that we used before, Run the World, is also gone. So they're not always right. Usually they're wrong most of the time. So getting 700 rejections means that you should see it as a badge of honor rather than a failure, because often they just kind of follow the herd. And when you're at a point that you're generating income and the risk is low, more and more people will come. So it is always challenging getting through that valley of death. How can this group that's watching now, or the one that will watch the replay, help you?
Absolutely. So at this stage of the stage of our company, we are we are at the point of scaling and scaling significantly. We have so I think the biggest help would be in helping us reach out to three kinds of funding that we need. First of all, we need equity funding to build capacities, both physical and intellectual property. So we do have a lot of that. So we need equity to expand our capacities and many other capex and other operational requirements. Here and the equity investment is here in our holding company in Switzerland, called which is the seat of all the equity investments in our group. Our Indian operations, which is a 100% subsidiary of our Swiss holding company, needs working capital. And so if there are impact debt or venture debt companies willing to give us working capital to our Indian subsidiary on a rolling basis, that would be the second mode of funding. And the third is technical assistance grants, which will be channeled towards providing the smallholder farmers with the basic infrastructure, the training infrastructure, and also the physical storage and other agronomic upgradations that is required. I mean, we have to make farming attractive for the next generation of farmers. If we do not attract the next generation of smallholder farmers to do what they are doing with pride, we will not have food on our table, right? So it's important to preserve all of that. So we have three kinds of funding. So if any of the listeners to this audio interview, the spotlight interview, I think please reach out to me or even to Robert if you don't know my email address. So, but you can hook me on LinkedIn. And we can have a chat about how we can build this investment from your side, equity in Switzerland, the holding company, debt in India, and grants in India. So this will be a big help. Yeah.
The what a lot of people, I was once asked to speak at this tech event in Norway with lots of Gen Z constantly making selfies of themselves. And they invited me to speak on how technology is fixing everything. And I said, I don't agree with that because the largest employer in the world is small scale agriculture by far. There nothing even comes close to it. It's like 1.3, 1.4 billion people work on, as smallholder farmers, and the next largest group is hospitality.
Hmm.
And tech is like way, 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 way down the list. It gets all the attention because it generates unicorns, but it doesn't really employ very many people. And I asked the audience, I said, what are you going to do with the 1 billion youth unemployment coming up? Are they all going to become coders and AI and they're just going to all have jobs over here? So it is, people forget how important the agriculture industry is also for employment, let alone for creating healthy food. So I admire very much you keeping the faith for the 7 years and keeping the lights on, although it seems to be getting a bit darker in your room over there. And
I will switch on the light, maybe. Yeah.
and the replay will be ready. I don't know if in about 5 minutes, and then we'll. Oh, I think we lost him there, and we'll push that out to everyone. So everyone who did register, if you want to watch it again, fine. Also, all the TBLi Circle members will have full access to that. We'll push that out through our social media. I think we lost
Yeah,
our.
you have to help switch on the videos from.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's right. Let me see how I do that. Okay, yes. More. Oh, here it is. Oh no, sorry. This group here. Sorry about that. Sam usually runs this for me, so okay, let's do this. Yeah, more. There we go. Okay. So you can come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really admire you keeping the lights on, the faith to do this, and so the replay will be ready shortly, and then I'll push that out, and you can share that with anyone. So I'll put it on YouTube so most people can have free access to it, and also I'll add it to the TBLi circle for everyone in the circle to watch it. So thank you so much for doing this, but also for doing the work that you're doing. I know it's not easy. It's fulfilling, but it's not easy. So thank you for keeping the faith, and also thank you for convincing your wife for 7 years to stay on board. And my greatest challenge has never been convincing the financial sector, convincing my wife that we're almost there. So, Arko, thank you so much for this, and you stay well. And anyone who knows anyone who might be able to offer assistance to Arko, please reach out. Arko Chatterjee on LinkedIn. Oh, here's Glenn shared. My wife and I were self-sufficient for 14 years with a small holding in Denmark. We were heavily into bartering for the items we did not grow. It is rewarding but hard and exhausting work. Totally agree, Glenn. And thank you all very much for coming. Arko, stay well, stay safe, stay sane.
Thank you, Robert. Bye-bye.
Thank you all for coming. See you next time.